Basically, NCA is in Indian program to develop a fifth generation aircraft. So fifth generation in the sense a jet aircraft which includes major technologies developed during the first part of 21st century. And it's a multi-role stealth fighter. So multi-role. So what here multi-role says that this can accomplish both air-to-air and air-to-surface on the same mission. Like during the same mission, it can during a short span of time with the true flexibility it can the ability it can be able to both air to air and air to surface missiles and surface mission sorry, and it's developed by ADA comes under DRDO. ADA is Aeronautics Development Agency, and the manufacturer is HAL, that is Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And we're expecting the first flight on 2024 or 2025. So this is the it's a simple model on it's a simple model of AMCA. It's a single seat twin engine all weather aircraft. And all weather in the sense the radar can use as in foggy clouds and during the less visibility. I mean that is night and all those various parameters. And it performs air superiority, ground attack, bombing, strike, and intercepting. Air superiority is nothing but it's usually it is designed to seize the control of an enemy airspace. Like it's above the enemy territory, the airspace. So by establishing the dominance over the opposing air force, that is air superiority. And it combines super cruise, advanced ASE radar, and super maneuverability. Super maneuverability it comes under it's a tactical measures which in normal pure aerodynamic mechanics cannot do that. So it's an example like it's a post-stall characteristics and all just comes under super maneuverability. And next is okay. What makes this AMCA difficult to detect by
Can you
the
go
radar?
back to the previous slide?
Yes, sir.
What is this super cruise?
Super Cruise is like a supersonic. It combines with the supersonic, sir. Like
No, but
uh,
what is the difference? All aircrafts go supersonic.
it's
Why?
like autonomous drive assistant feature that allows its driver to remove their hands, like that kind of that thing, sir.
Or is it something to do with the propulsion system?
Uh, No, sir. I don't think so, sir.
I see. Okay. Maybe from someone from the class can just find out after some time. Okay. What is the super cruise? And super maneuverability?
That's what super maneuverability, sir. Like tactical maneuvers, sir, which in like pure aerodynamic mechanics cannot be done based on
Okay.
the.
Okay. Fine. Continue.
Okay. Things which makes this AMCA difficult to detect by the radars, that is maybe an X band, S band, or L band. And first is RAM. RAM is nothing but a radar absorbent material which is designed and shaped to incident RF radiation, like to absorb the incident RF radiation as effectively as possible. And this FSS is frequency selective surface. Like they are designed the surface according to which in which the signals are maybe reflected, observed, and transmitted based on their frequency field. And random is nothing but a structure which in which it's a weatherproof structure inside which it protects the radar. So it is basically a home for a radar. So, and active cooling is in heat reducing mechanism. This mechanism is used in the when in the supersonic flight usually there will be heat will be to manage the heat built up by the supersonic flight in the leading edges. That is active cooling. And DSI usually comes
Why
under
do you
the
require active cooling, sir?
to reduce the heat mechanism, sir, because during the supersonic flights, it develops a lot of heat. So to manage and build up to manage the heat, active cooling is used, sir.
Even present generation aircrafts go supersonic.
Sorry, sir.
Even present generation fighters, they fly supersonic. What's wrong? Let the heat be generated, no? It will get dissipated.
Yes, sir.
Because you are flying so fast,
Yes,
so
sir.
naturally by convection you can cool the
Heat.
surfaces.
Yes, sir.
So why is it projected
No,
as
sir,
a
because infrared because infrared, we don't want to emit any Infrared, sir, as infrared signature. Infrared signature, it depends on the object, no, sir, the temperature and emissivity, or else the enemy
So it is,
radar.
when you talk about stealth, it's not just only stealth through radars, it is stealth of IR signature also. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So what they try to do is cover even the engine with a layer of fuel. That's what they are trying to do, so that the IR signature is reduced and IR missiles cannot home on to the aircraft. That's why they are trying this active cooling.
Okay.
Yeah. And there is a
So
third type of stealth. It's called the acoustic stealth. You don't want the noise also to be generated. So it is stealth to EM waves, temperature, and acoustics. And of course, visual. Okay. Visual, you can always paint the aircraft in light gray or something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Continue.
Okay. So DSA comes under the propulsion category, that is divertless supersonic intake. It's that intake. It's to control the airflow. So that is and to divert the boundary layer airflow. That is DSI, and reduce radar cross section. So
how does DSI reduce the radar cross section? What is the difference between a normal intake and this intake?
So that's what the DSA is basically. Normal intake is like in DSA you'll be having like kind of, I'm not sure the exact term for the control airflow. I think some.
No, okay, I'll put it to the class. See, a normal intake converges, right, to a point. Now, this one you're telling it's going to diverge. And then probably afterwards it has to converge at some point. Now, think loudly why it will it will reduce the radar cross section. It's for the class, okay? Just try to answer this. I'm not sure whether I can write on your screen.
One second, sir. I have an empty slide. I'll try to.
No, that is your printer, right?
No, sir. Can you just I mean, request control, sir. Accept it, and then you can use, no, sir.
Okay. See, a normal intake. No, I am not. I am unable to write.
1 second, sir. 1 second. Sir.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, fine. I will do it later. No?
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, go to your the last slide.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So okay. So here it is on the radar cross section. So radar cross section is like it's a flat surface. Like according to the stealth characteristics, it's a flat surface with no curve, so that the signal is diverted, and the radar cross section also includes that airframe shaping and all those stuff. That is reduced radar cross sections. That is that. And when it comes to avionic equipment, like some of the avionic equipment I have mentioned here. That is IRST. IRST is it's an infrared search and track thingy. I mean, search and track. That is that is this one is an IRST. I just took it from SU-27. And next is RWR. RWR is radar warning receiver system. Like it detects the radio emissions of radar system and issue a warning when a radar signal that maybe a threat or threat from the enemy is detected. And electronic warfare system. And SPJ is signal protecting jammer. And
no, it is self-protection jammer. Okay.
Sorry, sir, self-protection jammer. Sorry.
Okay.
Self-protect. Okay, self-protection jammer, and LWR is laser warning receiver. So laser warning receiver is, as the name says, it's detects, analyze, and locates the direction of laser emissions. And missile warning suit. In missile warning suit, a sensor will be there which detects the attacking missiles and makes the pilot to make defensive maneuvers and to take countermeasures to deploy. To deploy the countermeasures and to disrupt the attacking missile. That is missile warning suit. And UTEM is nothing in AESA radar. So I'll just give a small brief introduction to the AESA radar. AESA radar is an active electronically scanned array. So it's a type of an phased array antenna. So okay, I'll just give a small picturized description of this phased array antenna. So okay, just imagine this. This is in not imagine, just see to this. This is in AESA radar. So just imagine a large panel. I'll just draw it. Okay. Okay, just imagine a large flat panel, and you're having all these antennas. Okay. And okay, obviously each antenna will receive and transmit a signal. So the sinusoidal waves, the waves. Just imagine it as a waves. Okay, so these sinusoidal waves that antennas send out travel outward, and interfere with each other. So that our thing is to we need we need a specific direction narrow beam, so that we have to design an array correctly, that when we all add these together, we'll be getting in a narrow one specific direction. So in practical, if you have you will be having hundreds and a lot of antennas, so they'll be forming in laser, like a laser point of an arrow beam will be we'll be getting it, and all the side lobes will be cancelled out. And one will be getting in a single narrow specific direction. So here comes how it can be electronically steered, like phased array. And so in this here, phased array antenna is electronically steered. So how it is that, how it is possible? So so in that you'll be having so if we add a time delay, to each of the signals that we send out from each antenna, the direction they add together in a narrow beam changes. So that is and this direction depends on how much time delay each of the signals carry. So I just have a small clipping that you can visualize in a water droplet. I'll just show that once again. Okay, this is the clipping. So you can see how the time delay changes the phase, and you can see in all the directions. You can steer the beam for front. You can steer the beam back and front, and all the signals is covered. The signal coverage is all over. All over. The 360-degree. So that is about this, and. So that's all about that is about AESA radar, and that is which is computer controlled, and the beam of radio waves electronically steer to a point in different direction, and it is contrast to PESA. PESA is nothing. It's in it is like it is like passive electronically scanned array. It's like, what is the major difference between AESA and PESA is, see, in AESA each antenna is connected to a small like a small, I mean small transmitter and a receiver under the control of the computer. So it performs the function of a transmitter or receiver for the antenna. But in PSA, all the antenna elements are connected to a single transmitter receiver through a phase shiftness under the computer control. So what here is, in PSA, you can see only emit a signal beam of radio waves at a single frequency at a time. But in ASA can radiate multiple beams of radio waves at multiple frequencies simultaneously. So there will be a wide range of frequencies, which makes it more difficult to detect and as well as being more resistant to jamming. So that is ASA, and this is an small. This is how in you can just see the difference. Like here you have an only single box transmitter connected to an antenna, and which is controlled under the phase shifters, and it is transmitting. But in AECA,
Shana, can you just go to slide view?
That's what, sir. Oh. Okay. Now it's possible. Now it's fine, sir.
Yeah, can you just zoom in a little bit?
Zoom in is not, I think.
It's not working. Let me see some
one
option.
second, sir.
No shift. No, you'll have to ask your classmates whether it's visible or not.
No. Yeah. No, I mean, is this picture is visible, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only thing is that contrast between PESA and AESA, that's not visible. It's too small. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sir. 1 second.
You can remove the other one.
I got it.
Yeah. I think that's the best possible. Yeah, now you can go to slide view and explain.
Okay, sir. So in PSA, that all the antenna, you can see here, all the antenna elements are connected to a single transmitter through phase shiftness under the computer control. And this first receive is due to low noise. After the how a large large signal loss will be between the radiating element and the transmitter. But in AAC, will be having a small signal loss. And like here it is in TR. What is TR? Is a transmitter receiver module. It transmitter is in each phase shifter in each transmitter receiver module. Like antenna here, antenna is a transmitter and then receiver. So that is, here antenna elements are connected to a transmitter and the receiver. That is the like a major difference. But in AACA module, it generates and radiates its own independent signals, which allow the AACA to produce like numerous simultaneous beams, and it is like a large number of beams, numerous beams, so you can actively track or detect a large number of targets. So that is about AESA. And when it comes to advantages is it's like a low probability of intercept and a high jamming resistance due to a lot of frequencies. So it's kind of very difficult to jam, and ultra low band antenna. So obviously when you see the water droplet, you can just
Sahana, just 1 second. What do you mean by low probability of intercept?
Low probability of intercept is like I'll just show, sir. 1 second.
Or the class can just guess what it can be.
I have 1 second. I have this inside. Okay.
Okay. Like Sarada was
I'll say, sir.
yeah, tell it, sir.
Okay, it's measures to avoid that like the detection, sir. Like, sir, you shall say, sir.
Yeah. See, like whenever you're operating the radar, you're trying to find out the position of your enemy. But simultaneously, what's happening is you're also giving out your position. Right? So they can now employ some countermeasures. So the one advantage of IR, what you are talking, search and tracking, IRST, there is no active emission. So you're not giving out your position. Whereas the radar is giving out the position of the your own aircraft. So in the AESA radar, you are telling they can operate at different frequencies. Of course, if you go into details, it will be different PRFs also. Okay, and within the pulse also they modulate it. So each part of the radar is operating at different frequencies or characteristics. The EMA characteristics is different. So it will be very difficult for the enemy to lock on to one particular thing and then employ some or deploy countermeasures. Okay? That's what is called as low probability of intercept. You don't want your signal to be intercepted by your enemy. That's the motive behind LPI. Getting it, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And okay, and then high ECM immunity. ECM is an electronic countermeasure. It's like it's a trick or to deceive a radar from the enemy. I mean, from the enemy. Maybe it may be a sonar or any other detection system can, like it is to trick the enemy radar. And high bandwidth. So high bandwidth. So usually when it comes to a data rate, this data rates requires in high directional antenna. So this high directional antenna, AESA provides high directional antenna, so we can provide high data rates, and that is high bandwidth. And low powers. Low powers. Why we are saying low powers is that since each module operates independently, so if there is a single failure also, it won't affect much. So and there is also, it is also working independently, so we'll be having a low power of 60 to 40 to 60 watts. So large high power voltage is supply is eliminated. So that is also an advantage of AESA. And I just wanted to ask the class about the limitations, like what limitations you can what limitations can be in AESA.
Yeah, you guys can shoot. Okay, some participation should be there from the class. She has given a very rosy picture of AESA. If that be the case, everyone would have uh, developed AESA, whereas it has just come recently. Sanjay, anything you want to? You feel that there's some problem with the AESA?
Sir, it's mentioned that it uses high bandwidth. So maybe because bandwidth is costly, so maybe because of that.
No, in war, there is no cost.
Okay.
So you can say both in love and war, there is no cost. And the bandwidth, what she is telling is, the moment you spread your spectrum, the enemy also, the jammer also has to spread his spectrum, which means he also has to put in more effort. So always a higher bandwidth is a benefit. The cost is not an issue. War and all, no one worries about who's jamming, using what bandwidth. Okay, sir. You can yourself.
Okay, sir. Okay, first thing is it's electronically and mechanically. So what advantages over electronically and mechanically is in mechanical, you will be having a motor so that it will increase your weight, size of the weight, and it will also increase the uh, it will also decrease the reliability or also increase the cost also will be increased when it comes to that part. So when it comes to electronically, the coverage, that is, I mean, the field of view of ACA flat faced antenna is around 90 to 120 degrees. But when it combined with the like, it is also, that is the main disadvantages, but it also can be like achieve, like it can also, you can also say the word achieve, we can achieve by like combining the mechanical movement, so that you can so that you can see so that the range is vastly increased. So that is one notable disadvantages I came across AESA, sir. And
But
that's
I
also.
think the technical challenge, what I understand is something to do with cooling of these TR modules. They have to be kept very close to each other. It's a mechanical problem, okay? Like the heat transfer problem. They are unable to cool these TR modules. But the moment you increase the distance between TR modules to have some ventilation, then the beam characteristics go haywire. There is something to do with cooling. I didn't read much about it. Cooling of the TR modules. Whereas a single transmitter is somewhere in the, maybe it can even be kept below the seat also, pilot seat also, and then cooled with the engine air or the inflow. Whereas here it's not possible. It gets heated up quite fast. Okay. And probably because TR modules are also being manufactured by very few countries. They don't want to part with the technology. You require really miniature TR modules. Ground radars, there is no issues, but airborne radars, there is going to be a problem. Okay. Anything else, Shana?
That's all, sir.
Yeah, now the class will have to ask some questions on AMCA in general and maybe on the radars. Let there be some discussion. Okay. Another major difference in this fifth generation aircraft will be this hard points. Hard points is where you attach all your armaments, okay, missiles and bombs. So you look at Rafale and all the bombs and all are carried externally. Whereas these AIMs, this sort of fifth generation and sixth generation aircrafts, they are going to have all the armaments enclosed in inside the fuselage itself. That's why the fuselage looks boxy. Okay. So nothing is carried externally. The moment you carry external armaments, your radar cross section increases. And she was talking about this divergent nozzle. See, convergent nozzle acts like a perfect reflector. Normal nozzles, not nozzles, sorry, intakes. Intakes act like a perfect reflector because it's like a cone facing the radar. Whereas in the divergent nozzle, all they are doing is a flat surface is going to be seen by the radar. So it gets reflected back. So it substantially reduces the radar cross section, but the penalty is propulsion efficiency. So that I don't know. You guys will have to find out how they improve the propulsion efficiency in spite of having a divergent nozzle. Okay, maybe you can ask Sri Krishnan sir or someone why this. You finished your propulsion class course?
Yes, sir.
So you must have jet engines, right?
Jet engines.
You have done jet engines already? At least some basics of jet engines? Sahana?
So you're asking me, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So in that he must have taught you about some convergent.
Yes, sir. Convergent, divergent acid. We have came across, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but now they are just reversing the whole thing, just to decrease the radar cross section. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Sahana. You very good effort. Okay, keep it up. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So I don't think this is the right time to start the next topic. So the next class we'll talk about secondary surveillance radars. Okay. Okay. Thanks everyone for participating, and thanks Sahana for a very good presentation. We'll meet in the next class.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.